Hi, I'm Craig. That's my brother Brad. Welcome to Weekdays with Craig and Brad.
Life is hard, but you can't give up. Let's have a conversation. Weekdays, we're gonna make it today. Weekdays with Craig and Brad.
Episode 75, Brad. We made it.
Craig, not only did we make it, we all made it. 1 year.
Thank God. Thank God we did. Well, not all of us, unfortunately, but everyone watching here did.
Okay.
Hey, how about you be a little more sensitive to the situation?
Let me roll it back here.
Okay, hold on. Here we go. Ready? And 3, 2, 1. Just kidding. Wrong one. So yeah, here we are. We're 365 days into 14 days to flatten the curve. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the spectacular 365 days in the making.
Yeah.
Ready to go.
I don't know. I kept seeing the word anniversary popping around, and it's just weird. It's like, really? Like,
yeah, is celebrating this? Is this what we're doing?
This is
hooray.
Yeah, okay,
Nice,
I guess
nice.
so.
Look at this. Vilcher says, perfect time. I got to go potty. There you go. We're perfect time. This is the potty show of record.
That's
here
right.
On YouTube, which is great.
Take it to the pot.
Which actually, before we get into all the fun stuff that we have planned today, the spectacular, if you will, I should probably let you guys know about the YouTube comment of the day. We got a juicy one today. Really juicy one. I'm loving this. And I picked this one out specifically on purpose because I got to be honest, this one has been on people's minds. Coming from Mecha Dragon says, so is the podcast going to be just Craig and his brother from now on? Oh, I think Gregarious Gamer comes in and says, yep. Yep, take it or leave it. I asked Craig this back in January. He confirmed this is the direction he's taken his channel. I'm not one to criticize, but I knew something was up when he began losing many subscribers a day. Then it became 1,000 in a week. It hasn't stopped dropping since then, and I'm genuinely worried for him and Brad. I'm sadly anticipating this podcast to end within a month. There's no way they haven't discussed this reality already off stream.
No, we haven't. That's pretty funny. I appreciate your concern for our well-being. Yeah, I don't think we have talked about our destiny with death, Craig.
No, not yet. Not yet. It has not been talked about. This is a long-term thing. I said down below, and as I've said all over and over again, nope, it's the churn. We expected it. We're not going anywhere. As a matter of fact, I'm actually pretty stoked because I thought it'd be considerably more. So now I think the biggest thing that I'm disappointed in isn't the idea of losing subscribers, because I realize that this type of podcast isn't for everybody. The thing I'm most disappointed about is people's inability to want to listen to a podcast that they may not necessarily agree with.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really, I think about it every day, Craig. It's my fault. Here I am. And then people are like, so wait, is this just Craig and his brother now?
That's it.
What's this?
That's all you're doing.
It's my fault.
See, After Rule says that's some pessimism right there. I'll tell you what. I will tell you what, man. That is a lot of pessimism. But you know what? That's okay. And like, legitimately, we understand that what we're doing right now and what we're building right now is only backed by those who are watching. Like Zim, who came in with 1,500 bits, says, nice. Hi guys. See, that's huge. Bits, subs, all that stuff, massive. So here we are. So
Zim is a hero of the week. I'm so glad. Like,
100.
You're still hanging with us, still hanging around, bud.
Last day for Zim. Zim's heading out to the sandbox tomorrow. So
breaking my heart. My heart.
Yep. So it's important for everybody who watches this show regularly to hit the thumbs up button and comment and feed the algorithm. So hopefully we can show up on some people's list. Well, only 20% of our viewers are not subscribed. Put that in perspective. That is a minimal, tiny number. That means we are not being shown to anyone. That means YouTube has not shown any interest in putting us out to anybody else. Why? I don't know.
YouTube's not suggesting us to people based on their previous views?
I don't know. But here we go. Look at this. Chinbeard Dynasty says, I don't agree with everything you say, but I know it comes from a genuine place and with love. That's right. Nothing we say has ever come from hate. Nothing we've ever said. We're okay with laughing at things, which we will tonight, because we realize it's a global pandemic, and that's the whole idea of being 365 days into a 14-day quarantine. So here we are.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is, you're not going to meet anybody in your life you're going to agree with everything on. Like, we're married. We don't agree with our wives on every single thing.
I was like, that'd be really weird if
no, Craig and I aren't married.
No.
That would make the show extraordinarily weird and creepy. I'm talking about us being married to separate women. We have our wives, but I'm just saying from a relationship perspective, I got to clear it up. Look, you're not going to get along with everybody. Like, we got to stop that. That's why I love our conversations, because thank you for hanging out with us. And you don't have to agree with everything we say. We don't want you to agree with everything we have to say. We're just chatting. But like, the entire world right now is like, they said something I don't like. Shut it down.
They did. But as CDI says, I was looking at your videos and they look like they're gaining traction slowly but surely. And that's what we're looking to do. This is not going to be some overnight success. It's just a slow build for everybody.
Can I tell y'all, full transparency, how much podcasting experience I had before this show?
Please, Brad, tell everybody.
0.
Thank you. There you go. So there it is. Congratulations, Becca Dragon and Gregarious Gamer. You guys both are the YouTube comment of the day. Gregarious Gamer, by the way, I am coming for you in the Mario 35 record you have. So I'm coming in time.
You gonna give those fellas some points?
Sure. Yeah, I'll tell you, I will give them 54 points. Look at that. 54 points for the 54 viewers between Twitch and YouTube right now. You get in early, you get more points. As a matter of fact, that is the 3rd consecutive day where the YouTube comment of the day, the point totals have gone up, which is great. So that means more people are getting in early, which is outstanding. So yeah, awesome stuff.
Hey, you want to hear something funny about today? Today is not just the 365-day anniversary of 2 weeks to flatten the curve. Do you want to know what else today is?
March 11th, 2021. This is a year. Well, yeah, go ahead, Brad. I mean, I think I know what it is, but go ahead.
No, you don't know what it is. Today is Kidney Day. It's National Kidney Day.
Okay.
National Plumbers Day.
Oh.
It's National Wash Your Nose Day.
Oh.
And National Oatmeal Nut Waffles Day. Now, I wanted to share that with you because are we not getting freaking ridiculous with the overloaded celebratory days?
Real quick, back up. Did you say Oatmeal Waffle Day?
Oatmeal Nut Waffle Day.
So wait. Yeah. It's not just Waffle Day or Oatmeal Day. Not Oatmeal Waffle Day, Oatmeal Nut Waffle Day.
You gotta have the nut. You gotta have the nut involved with it. Yeah, specifically.
Otherwise, doesn't matter.
Well, you gotta be inclusive to oatmeals and waffles and nuts, and so they come together. We gotta include all of the foods in their own special way.
Okay.
Yeah, I was listening to my kids listen to a podcast every day, and they were talking about it, and I was like, "Oh, that's crazy that we keep making up holidays."
Yep, that's the world we live in. Yeah, I was gonna say, Health Warrior says washing your nose day. Like he says, like
build awareness.
Only once a year. No wonder COVID exists. That's right, Health Warrior. That's right.
Yeah. That's a very, very good point, because look, if we got to make a holiday to build awareness to washing our nose, it puts into perspective how ridiculous it was at the beginning of the entire pandemic. How it was like, look, let us teach you how to wash your hands. And all the hand washing videos came out, and all this like stuff about how to wash your hands properly and what songs to sing for how long. And I remember just sitting there thinking at the beginning of all this, I was like, what? Who needs this information?
Right.
We learned this like when we were 5. What?
So So real quick, I found a little detail. Apparently, National Wash Your Nose Day is today's the first day, apparently.
It's the first annual.
It's the first annual National Wash Your Nose Day. It's put together by a group called Zlear, I guess. It's is recognized as a leading manufacturer of natural proactive care products with xylitol. The thing that I take out of this, don't put an X as the first letter of your company name. Don't do that, because I don't know. I don't care anymore. Sorry. That's what we're going to take out of that.
We got to stop using the word. We got to stop using the letter X as a substitution letter for a lot of things. I feel like it's getting way overused. It's kind of like the trend a few years ago was to take out vowels and create a brand that took out the vowel.
Right.
Like now the trend is to throw an X in there.
Yeah, actually, did you see the women thing where they took the X out of women?
Yes, I've seen that.
And Latinx and stuff. And
let's just look. We already got our words. They've been around. We don't need to change them. We don't need to make new words. And we don't need to remove words. And I think we've got them all. I think they're doing fine.
Well, we always, it's funny you mentioned words, because later tonight on the show, I'm going to give you a list of words that we use every single day that we have not used, that prior to 1 year ago, we never used.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you all those words. So, so listen, legends watching and tuning in, make sure you guys get up and get crazy. But before we do that, I am actually going to read this is my journal. I got this journal.
Whoa.
Isn't this awesome? Isn't this awesome?
That from the Never-Ending Story?
Isn't that cool looking? I got this at a gaming convention. It's really nice. It cost me like $50. It has handmade paper in it. Handmade paper. Look at that.
You have Indiana Jones's dad's journal.
It's pretty awesome, right? So I'm actually going to read my journal from March 14th, 2020. I've never actually, my wife has never even heard these before. So I'm going to read this tonight. But before we do, I need to let you know that Zim donated $200.
What?
$200. Says, I don't want to take away from the show, so read when you have a good spot, which we're in a good spot. Says, I just want to say how much I appreciate you, your brother, and the show. I always look forward to streams, and I'm going to miss y'all. Can't wait to see where the show goes. Zim, that is insane.
I'm speechless. I don't know what to say. It's a beautiful thing. We appreciate that support. We want you to take care of yourself. We want to see you real soon. We want to see you back here safe and sound. And hopefully we've grown quite a bit because of your support over by the time you get back. And we wish you all the best. We really appreciate that. It's amazing. Much respect.
Zim, like I said today on stream, I expect to see you in 365 days when it's the 2-year anniversary of 15 days to flatten the curve.
Yeah.
And then we'll play some XCOM. This is crazy. Yeah. I can't wait. Listen. So tonight's show, we want a lot of conversation to be had. All right. I see some great questions here, like one from Pizza Time, which we can get into this in just a second. But the Schultz has subscribed a brand new tier 1 sub over on Twitch. The Schultz, thank you so much. That is a reoccurring tier 1 sub. Thank you so much. And Miss Mindy gifted a tier 1 sub to Titations. Miss Mindy, thank you very much over on twitch.tv/Craig Yeah, that's crazy. Okay, so Pizza Time. I'll tell you what. Let's take Pizza Time's question real quick, and then I want to read this. Read this journal.
You just got your cool little journal out, and I was so excited to hear from it.
Okay, then good. I'll read it. Here we go. I'm going to read this thing out loud. This does look like Indiana Jones' journal, doesn't it?
Indiana Jones' dad's journal.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
Okay.
I always put the location I'm in. I also put the date, and I always put the time. Okay.
Okay.
It says home, 1:06 a.m., 3/14/2020. And the reason why I want to read this is this is something that I feel like I always want to know more about my parents. So I plan on giving this to my kids when they're old enough to appreciate it, right? And I think they'll appreciate it and where my mindset is and where the world was and everything like that, so they can learn about things. Because for them, COVID will be this, they'll remember it, but they, being 8 and 6, they're just going to remember masks and stuff like that, right? They won't remember everything that went along with it. So I think it's important. So here we go.
Yeah.
The world is crazy. Never before have I experienced anything like what's happening. The entire world is being consumed by fear of a relatively new virus called the coronavirus, i.e. COVID-19. This disease started in China and has spread throughout the world over the last couple months. Just in the last week, has it gotten really, quote unquote, real. People are panicking, buying up as much hand sanitizer and toilet paper of all things. Apparently, toilet paper is mostly made in China and a lot of China, or at least where Corona originated from, is so people are afraid it'll be in short supply. The stock markets have just been decimated, not just in the United States, but globally. For the first time ever, all sports in the US and various parts of the world have either halted or completely shut down. No NBA, no NHL, no MLB, March Madness, XFL, golf, NCAA, badminton, nothing. Everyone is afraid of this thing, mostly out of the uncertainty and lack of knowledge. Apparently, most people will have some flu-like symptoms, but for those with poor immune systems or older, it could be very dangerous, and that's where the fear lies. Since it's transferable via contact, we've all had to make adjustments and almost quarantine ourselves. Since you don't show symptoms for 4 to 5 days, you could give it to someone and not even know. I'm mostly concerned about my parents and KK and Pops. That's what we call Kristen's parents. We're going to stay at our house for the next couple weeks and see where this thing goes. What most experts say is that this is just the start and it's only going to get worse before it gets better. Disney World is closed. Freaking Disney World. Even at Game Attack, we've had to make some changes. We've moved away from our studio to stream from our houses until things, quote, get back to normal. We have no idea when that will be. I can really only think of one event in my life, 9/11, that made as much impact socially and economically as the coronavirus. The difference is that we consume news different now. In 2001, we watched the news, read papers, and listen to the radio. In 2020, we get our news from the cesspool that is social media, like Twitter and Facebook. It's gross and disgusting. You have no idea what's accurate, and everyone has such a big bias politically. It's mind-numbing. But this thing is changing literally minute by minute, and social media allows that. So a lot of life changes are coming, and we have no idea for how long. There's travel bans, lockdowns, and quarantines. Schools and businesses are shutting down. I can't stress how crazy things are. I can't stress how crazy things are. The world has changed. When things return to normal, if they return to normal, the stock market and economy will bounce back in a major way. It's just a matter of waiting it out. The girls have got spring break today, and all signs point to it being extended possibly till the end of the month. We're about to spend a lot of time together as a family. That's a great thing, by the way. And then it goes on to something else, which I'm not going to read. So,
yeah, you just reminded me that it all started on spring break, and then spring break just kept going, and then okay, yeah.
Right. Hey, check this out. Look at this. I want to show you this bad boy. So you clip it in, and then you can actually, like, as you clip it.
Yeah. You know what I think you need to do with that? If you're going to give it to the girls one day, I think that you should put it in a treasure chest, and the treasure chest needs to be buried somewhere, like in Texas, maybe. And then, like, what you do when, like, if you plan to give it to them after you pass away or something, it's in your will with a map that gives you all these clues, and they have to find it.
Yep. That'd be fun. So that was literally going through my mind. That was 362 days ago, and obviously your mindset changes. But a lot of the things that happen there, you said, as I read early on, the idea of it being passed through touching, through surfaces, which has been proven that's not how it's passed now, right? We've learned that over the last 365 days. It's spread through air and all that stuff.
Droplets.
So, droplets. Yes.
Is that on the list?
No.
I'm writing that down to try and remember it for our lists later.
But
drop.
I thought that would be a good. I just thought that'd be interesting. Hopefully
Yeah.
you guys enjoyed that.
I think that's get Craig's audiobook, by the way, on Audible.
Read my journal.
Just read your journal. No, I think that sounds pretty much like on par with what most people were thinking at the time. It was just like, whoa, what's happening? This is crazy. Can't believe all this stuff is shutting down. What's going on? Toilet paper, really? Why?
Right.
And none of us really knew what was going on. I was in an interesting situation at the beginning of all this because I was working a promotional job as like a little side gig at an airport. And it was with Nintendo of all companies.
Right.
And we were doing free gameplay. And for the Nintendo Switch, it was just like people could come and hang out and play in between flights and stuff. And the more and more this became the news, I started seeing one by one more people wearing masks coming in from around the world. And you're like, whoa, really? You're going to go that far? You know, at the time it was like, really? Look at all these people starting to wear masks. And then less and less people were coming to our hangout zone because of the germs. And they were like, that looks like a pretty bad spot to spread germs. Are you guys wiping those down? And we were like, yeah, we're wiping them down. Ultimately, the whole program got canceled. And they just shut it down because people were not traveling. People were not hanging out, doing flights. And it was just safer overall. A lot of companies were just closing up shop. Any kind of event company really had took it hard. And as a musician as well, like I had shows lined up that I had planned to do at the beginning of all this. I had to cancel every one of them, and I had to figure out my own way. And it is really interesting. So, you know, I ended up doing online shows and things like that, and did some things I never thought I would ever do. Like I had a stint early on where I was doing parodies, coronavirus parodies, which I never wrote parodies before. And I wrote a parody to Billy Joel's "We Didn't Start the Fire." And I made it, "We Didn't Spread the Virus." That's where this shirt came from. And it was supposed to be like a PSA kind of thing at the beginning, just like, hey, we're all going to be home, not spreading the virus. Anyways, it took off. It was my first video to ever get like over 1 million views. And all of a sudden I was like, whoa, I'll hang out and do some videos like this. And like I found a silver lining early on at the beginning of this. Like, I can't do my shows, but I ended up doing like a world tour where I went from each social media site and did a live stream concert throughout a whole week. And I started getting creative with it and doing stuff I never thought that I would do. So it sort of set the tone for the rest of last year, where I was like, well, I have no idea what's going to happen month to month. Last month, I was doing a Nintendo promo at the airport. This month, I'm a viral sensation doing parodies, channeling my inner Weird Al. Right. And that was something cool because, you know, I love Weird Al, and I got to do something. It was a great writing exercise, and it was really cool to see that happen. So. Yeah,
you know, I think everybody had some silver lining. For me, the silver lining of it was just spending more time with my family, right?
Yeah.
And then, you know, I'm not saying that gets old, because it doesn't get old, but what it does do, it makes you appreciate the time that you have. And then, you know, I said for a long time, when all this is over, I'm going to go into some sort of like small depression, right? But I do feel, because just not being around my family as much as I'd like to be. With that said, you know, with the girls going back to school and life kind of getting, you know, kind of slowly trickling back to normal, right? Mm-hmm. If it was like a hard cut, we're like, okay, you're going to school tomorrow, and then like there's like an empty house, and while I'm working at home and stuff. That would have sucked. But I do feel like I'm not going to, you know, I've had bad days for sure, you know, since I think everybody's had bad days. I went on stream one day where I was just talking about how I was just in a really bad mood, and like I've never woken up and just felt like I need to be in a bad mood. You know, I've just never done that before in my life. And really the last year for me, that it's the first time I've experienced that, where I'm just like, God, you know, and like, it's the first time I've ever felt like a little depression for no reason, you know, and not to say that's not no reason, but it's just, you just feel like you're constantly have stuff hanging over you.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of it. It's whether it's the virus, whether it's how you feel about the world is going. There's always, it just feels like there's a cloud over you at times, and I've never felt like that before this year. So that was really interesting for me. Now, I would legitimately love to hear if anybody else experienced that too, because I know people did. So
Yeah,
called the COVID blues.
Yeah. For sure. I think, everybody had those days. I did my best. I was pretty optimistic about it early on. I was sort of like, yeah, you know what? Like, Kelly got to come home and be home for a while. We all were like just living our life. It pushed us into a situation where we decided to commit to homeschool, which we had been talking about with the kids, but we weren't quite really there yet. And then once the kids were pulled out of school to do the distance learning thing, we were like, you know what, let's just try it. This is the year to try it. Let's do it. And we found that we actually loved it. So we did our best to sort of remain optimistic about things, not saying that some days weren't harder than others, because for sure you get a little, what's it called? You feel a little congested inside your house all the time. One of my favorite leisurely things to do, and one of my only leisurely things to do, is go to record stores and shop for music. And I couldn't do that. So I had no place to sort of decompress if I wanted to, no escape. I think a lot of people had that feeling.
Right. Real quick, Pickman says, Brad, correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't you in Texas and not wearing a mask anymore? If so, isn't that a little too early to be wearing that shirt?
No, because the shirt's funny.
It's a takeoff a parody he did.
Yeah, I just explained that. This shirt came from my parody, and then I decided at the time the parody was taken off, and the whole thing was we didn't spread the virus. And so I thought it'd be funny to sell these shirts. I got myself one, and it's still funny. And no, because I'm just going to move forward with my life thinking that I didn't spread the virus to anybody. I feel better that way.
We've talked about this before, right? We've talked about this. How, people are they walk on eggshells around this thing. It's this virus. You don't know if you have symptoms for 4 to 5 days. You could spread it to somebody and they could die, right? And people are like, I just couldn't live with myself that way. But it's like, how could you know? How would you know? If you passed it to somebody for whatever reason. Like there have been people who have been isolated in their house wearing masks, who have not gone outside for months and still got it.
Yeah.
Like how you can't do that. You can't do that to yourself.
That was my repeatable, testable science of last year. Actually, everybody I knew that got COVID last year was very strict in following the rules. Very strict. Every story was the same thing. I wore my mask all the time. I stayed inside. I didn't go anywhere. I still got it. And honestly, like that taught me a lot, because it was repeatable. It wasn't just like one person. It wasn't just two. Like it was like a good 10 people in a row where you just kept hearing the same story in a row, where you're just like, oh, really? Their story is the same thing. They wore their mask all the time. They stayed home as much as possible. They made exceptions. Maybe it was that one time they went grocery shopping and they couldn't do the curbside pickup. Right. They got it. But who knows? But you can't. I chose not to live by the weight of that, because that is just a very defeating way of living life. Like there's probably so many circumstances in my life in all of our lives where we, maybe not to the extent of killing somebody, but where we've made a very negative impact on somebody's life without us even knowing it. Not on purpose, not by any means, maybe just leaving something somewhere without you even realizing it on accident. That caused a butterfly chain effect into, the universe. And you just don't know. And that's what this is to me. It's like if you don't know, then there's no way, like you got a choice to either think one way or the other, right? You can either choose to think, well, I stayed home, I behaved myself, there's no way I hurt anybody. Or you can be like, maybe it was that one time and I went out and I did that and I might have hurt something. It would drive you crazy. It would drive me crazy at least. So I'm not going to soak into that mindset.
I think of like, let's just say you cut somebody off in the car on accident. Let's say you're in the left lane. You have to get over to the right lane real quick to get to exit, right? It's your fault. You got to swing over and you accidentally cut somebody off. Oh, sorry. You put your hand out. Sorry. And they're like, fuck you, right? And they're pissed off, right? Let's just say they get pissed off and then they're distracted by that and then they end up running into a pole. Is it your fault? No, it's not your fault. It's not your fault.
Yeah.
And that's kind of comes back to the,
Hey, look, I'll tell you a very deep story, and this is a sad story, but this is a good example of it. Okay. About 2.5 years ago, we lost our dog, Charlie. And that was a chain of events that morning. We were in a rush to get the kids out the door, out to school. It was a crazy morning. I was like, come on, I'm going to the car. My son came out. Our dog bolted out the door right as our neighbor was coming down the street and hit our dog, Charlie. And it was the worst moment in our entire life because Charlie was Kelly and I's dog before kids. We had him 8 years, and it crushed us, right? And my son witnessed one of our best friends, basically die in front of us. And we all went through that whole morning one by one. Who's, like my son, like talking to Dylan, who thought it was his fault. I'm like, it wasn't your fault. Nobody could have predicted that he was going to run out the door that morning. Like that at the exact same moment that our neighbor was going to be driving down the street. And, I could backtrack and go, gosh, had I not opened the door, had I not felt so rushed that morning, had I paid attention to where he was, where Charlie was that morning. These are the things that I just think that you've got to forgive the moment, forgive life for just happening. I think you just can't live through your life trying to find blame and who did what wrong sometimes. And this moment, this COVID moment, this whole year is bigger than anybody could have ever thought of. You know? So nobody's a superhero and nobody's a villain. We've all just sort of done our best. Right.
Well, I mean, I will say this. I do feel like we've had some superheroes the last 365. But we'll get into.
There's been some, maybe.
Well, we'll get into some of those folks here in a little bit here. But real quick, Pickman followed up, says that's really easy. That's really easy to misinterpret a shirt without a very specific context of knowing that the parody exists.
I don't care.
Right.
How about that?
And as Zim followed up with, like, that's like saying you shouldn't wear anything with an image or phrase that not everybody would understand because they may take offense. And
yeah.
Brendan says, y'all ever talk about happy things? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we're going to have a super special, maybe on Monday, we'll make our episode. We'll do an episode on how great the world is, because that's been sort of the underlying theme. Like, we tend to pull out the silliness that's going on. Somebody had left a comment on YouTube saying that we were bitter old men. And it's not so much that we're bitter. I kind of just find everything that's happening in the world humorous, and it's just sort of like, what, like my favorite theme of our show is what are we doing? And
Right.
It's not so much that we're trying to be negative. It's just that the world, for me at least, my perspective is, and I'm sure Craig, you agree with this, but like, we live in such a easy, simple time, the best time to be alive. And we are making it so hard on ourselves.
It is
so difficult.
I do agree with that. And as we said, a few days ago, like, the world has literally, even in a global pandemic, every passing minute, the world is getting incrementally better. Like, it was better. It's better now than when it did when the show started. The world is better now, right? It's crazy, and if you think back 20 years ago, let's just say, before 9/11, you think about what that was like. And The world was good, but now we have so much more. You know, we have electric cars, this internet. We can at any point we can find out what the weather is at any second. You know, I can literally call my mom with a space technology and see her immediately. You know?
It's an amazing thing. Like that's one thing that one of the benefits of being a homeschool parent right now. Like when we were going into it, a lot of parents stress out and they're like, oh, I don't think I could do it. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You've got the internet. You don't have to know everything. You can look it up, whatever you don't know, and then you know it. And then you can give it to that knowledge to your kids. Like, I mean, it's not, you know, I don't mean to make it sound like it's super easy, because it's not. We definitely have our challenging days, but like, geez, we've so much. Anything you want to watch on TV, pull it up. That movie that came to your mind that you haven't seen in 15 years, you can watch it right now. You don't even have to drive to Blockbuster anymore.
Right.
Like this is an easy time. We're just like when we did it. What was our last story on? It was on Dove shampoo removing the word normal from their shampoo bottles because it's a dangerous word. That's how easy we have it right now. That's the point.
Right. So now you can spend hours and hours and hours scrolling on Netflix as opposed to actually driving somewhere and looking through the entire video store. It's crazy.
Yeah. And at Blockbuster, you at least had to make a decision. Netflix is just like you're scrolling through Netflix and then you decide not to watch anything. Excuse me.
As Aperture DJ points out, he says, this stream is happening right now. This is an amazing thing that's happening right in front of us. And we get to experience this conversation and contribute to it in the comfort of our own home, right? Like, this is amazing.
You get to interact with the TV show you chose to watch tonight.
Right.
Like, when did you ever get to do that? Like, do you ever, like, we're not the news by any means, but, you know, did you ever think as a kid you'd be able to pop on a TV show and be like, you know what, I'm going to let them know what I think right now. And they might respond to it.
And in some cases, get an actor fired.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? I don't like that so much about this TV show. We've got to remove that actor. You actually get to pick your own story. That was exclusive to little joke notepads in books in the 80s. Now you actually get to do that.
Brad, how do you know you didn't spread the virus? You're out here coughing all the time. You cough.
Well, that was from water. That was but you know, I don't think there's any COVID in here, but.
Oh, okay. Let's see if you can suck it up. Okay, real quick. I do want to take a look at I always like to pull up the COVID cases.
Wouldn't that have been just the worst if I just started coughing after all that COVID talk while I'm wearing this shirt, and then I'm just like, yeah. I don't mean to make light of it. I'm just saying, wouldn't that be the most ironic death of all time? Guy on podcast wearing "I didn't spread the virus" shirt dies of COVID.
Right. It'll be great publicity for the show.
Yeah. You have to get a replacement for me, or just keep me propped up like Bernie from Weekend at Bernie's or something.
That's right. Hey, Vilter brings this up, and I got to make sure we talk about this one more time. Tonight is the last night, literally the last night to get the Mr. Zucchini Dude t-shirt. If you guys haven't picked this up yet, literally the last night. There's only 8 more left. They will be pulled after tonight's show. So make sure you guys get in and really buy them if you want it. You can buy one of the 5 colors. You can see right there, yellow and orange and forest and the mint thing and the black. They all look really, really good. So make sure you guys get in there. I saw Armored Armadillo over on Twitter tweeted one out as well, and Armored Armadillo looks sexy. So make sure you guys get it. Vilcher bought 3 today. Vilcher poops a lot, so
sometimes you get sweaty in there. You got to change shirts.
That's right. So listen, go pick it up right now. It's at streamlabs.com/CraigSkits, /merch. They will be pulled down. They will be pulled down. I said they'll only be available for 1 week. All right. Once they're 20 shirts or that's it. So there you go.
This is your last chance. You got to do it now.
Yep. Okay. So I would like to pull up the COVID cases. 1 year ago today, I'd like to show this to you. 1 year ago today was March 11th. In the United States, there were 245 cases of COVID in the United States. when we decided to lock it down. To put that in perspective, today there were 58,530. Right. And by the way, we're starting to open up, right? So obviously lots changed, vaccines and stuff. You can see the sharp line of decline here. But I'd like to point out that 2 weeks after the 2 weeks to flatten the curve, on March 25th, there were 14,000 cases of coronavirus. So the idea of 2 weeks to flatten the curve didn't really work very well. So,
it didn't.
No. So
here we are.
Yeah.
What's the peak there? What was the date for the peak?
Oh, the peak date was, and we can look at it together. It was early January, January 8th. January 8th had 300,000 cases.
That is crazy that it seems like so recent that the peak was just so it seemed like the peak would have been back in like November or something like that.
Well, the argument was that after Christmas, you saw 2 weeks later, you saw that's where the peak was. That was the Christmas. Christmas got people together. So
what about deaths? Can you look at deaths?
Yes, absolutely. So there's deaths. The peak day of deaths looks like it was almost 4,000 on January 13th. January 13th, January 4th. Oh, there's a 4,000. January 12th.
Okay.
So 4,400. That was the most people who died due to COVID or with of COVID. So there you go. Yes.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hey, let's do this.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be fun. Let's take this time. We've been going to the algorithm way too late, and we gotta start hitting the algorithm early. We still have a lot of show to go. And when we come back, I'm gonna give you some phrases that we never ever used in society prior to the last 365 days. But now it's time in the show where you go in the comment section. If you're watching over on YouTube, first you give this episode a thumbs up. Second, you comment. I want to know how you felt 182 days ago in the comments. Go.
I'm Al Gore, the voice of your generation. Young people today, let me ask you this. How can we party? The earth is so big. Can we party? I'm Al Gore, the voice of your generation. Party.
Yeah.
That's Al Gore and the Al Gore rhythm. Round of applause for Al Gore right there. Nice. Love it. Super small cheap people says 182 days. What month was that? I don't know. Just 6 months ago.
It's March.
There you go. Hey, speaking of terms and words that we in Smarch, I've never heard Smarch before, but
From the
since we're making up words, I thought we'd talk about words that were made up and or created and or existed before that we never used prior to the lockdown in COVID-19. Whole thing. So I'm going to say some words and we'll just kind of talk about them real quick. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds great.
Okay. First one. Oh man, Zim says I was laid off 3 times last year.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. Yikes. Oh wow, Zim, that makes it even more amazing.
From the same job or what? Like, did you get hired? They bring it back? Like, what happened?
Zim, you must really doing a shitty job.
No, they can't make up their mind. Some days he's doing great.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
I don't know. That's terrible. I'm sorry to hear that.
All right, word number 1: contact tracing. Contact tracing. Yes, we hear this a lot. Who did you see and when did you see them? That is the essence of this term. Long familiar with anybody in public health, but new to the public consciousness. Contact tracing. It seems like we can't deal with that at all.
When you ask that, when you use it, it is required you have a pencil and paper with you to ask, where have you been? Who have you seen? Let me write their name down. I'm going to turn this into the city
That's right.
information center to let them know that you deserve to be in jail.
They got to
Whoa.
know. That's
Yeah.
right. Track them down.
Yeah, tracking for sure.
Can you use it because you use it in a sense? Absolutely, Juicebox. Juicebox, I need to know who you've seen and when you saw them for contact tracing.
That's
Next one.
That's when you get a punch in the face as an answer.
Right. Next, and I've actually never heard this, but it makes a lot of sense. It's called doom scrolling. Have you heard of doom scrolling before?
I have heard that. What does it mean?
The catch-all platform agnostic term for consuming bad news or information you know is detrimental to your mental health and wellness, yet being, quote, unable to stop. I think that this is doom. Just that's the idea. Is that you know it's bad, but you can't stop watching. You can't stop looking at it. It's something that has been reoccurring over the last.
It's a train wreck of information, and you just keep scrolling. Yeah, you can't stop. Okay.
All right. Next, essential workers. Essential workers. By early April, much of the country was under stay-at-home orders, marooned inside and safely out of the virus's reach. Unless, of course, you worked at a grocery store, a gas station, an airport, a hotel, a fast food food processing plant, a restaurant, a convenience store, or the USPS, a childcare center, a farm, a funeral home, a bike repair shop, an auto body shop, for a delivery app, or any of the dozens of other types of businesses we've been given permission to remain open. I really think that we need to rethink the idea of what an essential worker is. You know, I always go back to the idea that, you know, a sacker at Kroger should not be considered an essential worker. Sack your own damn groceries.
Yeah, you know, I remember seeing early on around the time that phrase started coming up, there was a chart getting passed around that had the top 5 essential worker jobs, and the bottom 5 non-essential jobs, and then the number 1 non-essential job. Do you know what it was?
Podcast host.
Absolutely correct, but not on the list. It was artist. And the irony of it was that this list had all these graphics. It was kind of like an infographic. And I was like, what sucky moment are you there designing this infograph, pointing out the fact that you are completely non-essential? You're like, wait, I have to do this. But I thought that was a lousy answer, because I was like, the arts probably saved a lot of lives over the last year. The entertainment that we all absorbed, Tiger King, for crying out loud, just anything, music, movies, like that was a savior for a lot of people. Right. Lousy list.
Lousy. Next word, frontline workers. You know, doctors, nurses, technicians, aides, housekeepers, put in their heroic hours during the pandemic. And that's where I say, you know, I think we have seen, you know, some superheroes. You know, the idea of, I have so much respect for doctors and nurses and what they do. You know, I was talking to a nurse this weekend, and she was talking about, I was like, I always like to ask cops, doctors, nurses, like what the weirdest and grossest things they've ever seen is. And it may be an annoying question. I'm sure they get it a lot, but this nurse was saying, like, yeah, I've had to clear out, you know, poop sheets and all this stuff. And she's like, yeah, but it's just part of the job. You just, you know, people get embarrassed. You got these old ladies who are pooping in the bed and stuff. And they're like, I'm so sorry. And she's like, whatever, I see it 8 times a day, you know? And like, I could never, ever do that stuff. So,
oh yeah, totally. Yeah. I have a sister-in-law who's a nurse, and I just seen her recently, and I was like, gosh, like I could never do what you do. Just the patience to sit there with the patients, no pun intended, but like some of those people got to be just terribly angry people, you know, that you've got to keep smiling with and treat them with the most, you know, the utmost empathy and kindness, and just get them through their moment. Yeah, totally.
Heir apparent throwing out some hot fire says the most non-essential worker is either a politician or a journalist.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's amazing that those two things, as somebody with a journalism degree, I like to point that out every single time we talk about journalism. As somebody with a journalism degree, it's amazing that journalists and politicians are only trusted as far as you can throw them, which is not very far. So crazy.
Yeah.
Next word on our list, hydroxychloroquine.
Ah, yes.
Yes, hydroxychloroquine.
Not really in our psyche prior to 2020 at all.
No.
It has been around for a long time. The drug has been around, but got lots of press last year, and then got lots of press, then got suppressed.
Got
See what I did there?
I like that, man. You're a poet and didn't know it. Yeah,
Hey,
so
are you.
That one came from President Donald Trump. It says as of March, President Donald Trump was touting the malaria drug, saying it could be one of the biggest game changers in the history of medicine. And by May, he said he was taking it as a preventative measure against the coronavirus. Its sudden prominence showed not only in Mr. Trump's turn to power to turn conversations to any topic he desires, but by the way, this is from the New York Times. So, but the world's desperate search for anything to help in the fight against the virus. As the drug itself, the FDA issued, then revoked emergency use authorization for use of treating COVID-19. And an analysis from the National Institute of Health published last month said researchers concluded that the medication hydroxychloroquine provides no benefit to adults hospitalized with COVID-19. But I think, coming off that statement, the idea of that research concluded that the medication hydroxychloroquine provided no benefit to adults hospitalized with COVID-19. I thought the whole premise of hydroxychloroquine was that it was a preventative measure. It wasn't meant to cure once you got it. It was a preventative measure.
Yeah.
Did I miss that?
No, I think that's what is a therapeutic is what those were Trump's words, right? He had called it a therapeutic.
I don't know.
I think, but yeah, that's what's interesting. Speaking of hydroxychloroquine and healthcare workers within the same few minutes, because you had that was one of the things that stuck out to me last year was seeing two sides of the medical aisle come to different conclusions, and you would have column A say this is right, then you have column B come out like we had lots of doctors come out in support of hydroxychloroquine who were pushed aside, who were looked down at and were called quacks. And, I tend to be like, well, hold on a second. They went through school. They have their own practice. Like there's more than one of them. Can we hear them out? Like that came in and out so fast. And it's just interesting to see that happen because I have had a conversation with a couple medical friends who are professionals. And I'm like, well, yeah, but like you don't all have to agree. You guys can come to different conclusions. What makes one professional opinion more valid than another one? Mm-hmm. So I just feel like we didn't get the whole story on that when it happened.
Aussie Man says Trump only touted it because he and his buddies like Kushner had money invested in it. No other reason.
Well, who's got money invested in the vaccines?
Next word on the list. Mail-in ballot.
Yeah.
Yes.
A common vocabulary word prior to 2020, but not that important. Just an option prior to 2020.
Yeah. Hey, John came in with a super chat. John, thank you very much. Says watching you guys get red pilled and having fun seeing it. I hate that term. I hate that term. Like this is John. I greatly appreciate the super chat.
Totally.
Like the idea of like red pilled is, I feel like that's like kind of a derogatory term. Like you've taken some sort of something and it's detrimental to you, right? This is not about. I am not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I don't have any political affiliation. I've said that millions of times, right? I have no political affiliation. All I do is I look at facts. I think there are some really great things that Democrats do. I think there's some really great things that Republicans do. I think if anything, I just kind of look at things and whichever one I agree with most, that's what I go with, right? I make conversation on the show based off observation. I hate the term being red pilled. I hate it. I don't know. I just think it's dumb. And John, I'm sure that you didn't mean that negatively, but I just my I don't know.
I think what we like to do on this show it's basically just self-indulge our our vocabulary. Some mediocre at best TV says, I want to get Craig pilled. I think we would prefer that you just use the term Craig pilled or Brad pilled or weekday pilled on this show. Because we want everybody to watch this show. We really do. And we want the discourse. We don't want to feel like somebody had said the other day on YouTube, they said, have you guys been accused of being far right?
Right.
Something or other. And I'm like, I said, the only thing we've been accused of is being too awesome for the internet. Because honestly, like I'm kind of tired of labels, and we gotta stop doing that a little bit. You know, I hear you on the red pill, blue pill. There's black pills.
Real quick, and maybe I've just totally missed this, and several people have brought this up. Health Warrior says red pill isn't a political party; it means you question the narrative. Nerdrum says red pill basically means you're aware and awake. Alpha Real says a better analogy would be going down the rabbit hole or snowballing when you get deeper and deeper sucked into a topic. Okay, I think I understand that now. I think I understand.
Get with the program, Craig.
Sorry, I look
$5. You're red pilling now.
Thanks, John. Hey, John came in with a $5 direct donation. Says watching you guys get red pilled and having fun seeing it. That's nice.
Appreciate that, John.
Okay, so then I don't. What? Okay, so it's a Matrix reference. I understand now. See, look, I'm learning things from you guys every day. This is, like I said, we're not experts here. We're just here talking, and I okay, that makes me feel better. It makes me feel better.
Now you can use it because it's from a movie.
Okay. Juicebox says it's mostly associated with conspiracy theorists, though. I don't think I brought one single conspiracy theory onto the show, right?
You know, I had this written down. I wanted to touch on this on our anniversary show. Maybe we can do this on right now while we're talking about it. What would have been a conspiracy theory in the year 2019 if you had described 2020 to somebody in the year 2019?
Mm-hmm.
If you had described to somebody 1 year ago today everything that was going to happen, you would have been looked at as a nutcase, a conspiracy theorist, a complete wacko. If you had described any one circumstance, everybody's going to be walking around with masks on for a whole year, and then they're going to tell you to wear two. You know, you're going to have to wear a mask when you walk into the restaurant, but then you get to take it off when you walk 6 feet to your table. You know, all that stuff. Everybody's going to have to get a vaccine. They're going to give you a vaccine card. Like all these crazy, like things that you wouldn't have considered a year ago. They're happening. I think everybody is a conspiracy theorist at this point. It's just that some are willing to look at it with an open mind, and some people are in denial. But I want to let everybody know you're a conspiracy theorist, whether you like it or not. That's just my opinion.
Right. Okay. Sounds good. Pickman says, no disrespect, but can you guys stop pretending that you don't constantly push right-leaning ideas, regardless of what labels you want to use, Craig? Pickman, I don't. I'm simply making observations. If you deem them right-leaning, then that's a you issue, not a me issue, right? I'm here and once again, I open discussion. I want to hear a counter perspective, whether it's left-leaning, right-leaning, you know, pick whatever way you want to lean. However I think, I'm not going to put it in a box and say it's right-leaning or left-leaning. I'm not going to do that bullshit, right? It's just about having conversation. We're observing things, right? And just because you don't agree like the saying, oh, it's left-leaning, it's right-leaning. That's some fucking bullshit, man. Like, let's all grow up and be adults, and we can have conversations without, you know, name calling or you thinking that you're pushing a narrative or that we're pushing a narrative. That's just bullshit, man. That's bullshit.
Yeah, I don't think we're pushing anything. We have shows where we just watch home videos sometimes. If we were pushing something, you would get a much straightforward narrative, I think, from us. But no, I think that's the problem with these boxes and these labels is that if you're unable to make a decision about how you feel about something until you know which box it fits in, that ultimately comes back on you. And I've seen that a lot. We had Dr. Carlin. What was her last name? I can't.
Dr. Carlin. Dr.
Carlin. We had Dr. Carlin on our show, and she is a a former Democrat. She said, or I think she is a Democrat, but she's now a Republican or something like that.
She was a Democrat. She stepped away, and I actually saw recently she for the first time in her life, like last week, she registered as a Republican.
Yeah, so like her story is interesting, right? Because she believes in whatever she wants to believe. She thinks that there are people that are crazy on both sides of the aisle, and I've watched her over this last week, like just get into all sorts of riffs with people over her beliefs. But you know what? They're her beliefs. She doesn't have to fit into a certain box and she doesn't feel like she has to take responsibility that like, oh, I'm registered as a Republican now, so I have to feel this way about guns or pro-life or LGBTQ community, and I think that we all should just be original, just be your own thing. You don't have to fit in a box. You don't have to fit in column A or column B. And we're not pushing anything on this show. We're just hanging out, chatting. Craig and I barely ever discuss what we're going to do on the show prior to 30 minutes to coming on here. We go, what's going on in the world?
Right.
And then we talk about it.
Pickman, if you wouldn't mind, just give us some things that you consider are, in your words, you said right-leaning ideas. Like, please throw them out there. I would love to hear what those are.
Mm-hmm.
Just, I would love to hear your perspective on it, for sure.
Do you have any more words?
I do.
Okay.
Probably the biggest one, social distancing.
Ah, yes.
That's crazy.
There's a movie that.
Oh, go ahead.
There's a movie that came out in 2011. I think it was, I can't remember the name of it. It was called like Pandemic or something.
Mm-hmm.
And they were using those terms way back then. They were using social distancing in that movie. I was like, whoa! I saw a clip from it. It's crazy.
Next word, super spreader.
Ooh.
Which I think is like the most fascinating term out of all of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you see, like, people are upset about the Rangers, having their full capacity, 42,000 people on opening day in an outdoor stadium, right?
Mm-hmm.
It has a roof on it. They're gonna have the door, the wind, the roof off, and their brand new stadium, 42,000 people here. When you've had riots and protests and January 6th and college football games and are those super spreader events?
Yes.
I don't know.
They're all super spreader events.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think I think it would be cool to create a cartoon character called Super Spreader, a superhero.
Super spreader.
He just goes around, I don't know, spreading things on his enemies. He gives them COVID to bad guys or something.
Right.
I don't know.
Here's another one real quick. Zoom. People in the business world, they definitely used Zoom, but outside of that, when my 6-year-old is getting on a Zoom to see her classmates at the start of the school year, yuck. So there you go. That is our list of words that you get for the first time.
All right,
So.
I got one more.
Oh, please.
I mentioned it earlier. You ready for this?
Yes.
Droplets.
Ooh, droplets. It's a regular term for sure. For sure.
Nowadays, yeah. Oh, you droplets. It's got a hard P in it. You don't want to spread the droplets when you're saying droplets.
Real quick, Spooner came in with a brand new Prime sub over on Twitch. Spooner, thank you so much. Can't tell you how much we appreciate that. I promise nobody will appreciate that sub more than us over on Twitch. And the Schultz came in with 250 bits. That's awesome. Here's the golden rule, as Joe Nev says. It's okay to disagree. It seems like the craziest statement where you can say something like that and people will still find fault in this. It's okay to disagree. No, fuck you.
Oh, no, it's not. You got to make a choice. Yeah, that's what I want us to be here for. I want this show to be like a common sense middle ground where you can just come here and listen to us talk You can agree or not, but that we nudge out, maybe Weekdays with Craig and Brad help us nudge out of this labeled society. That's a goal I'd like for this show to have, is like, if you come in with this preconceived notion that everybody's got to fit over here or over there, or something that we're saying fits right here, so that's what we are. I want this show to carry us out of that into the next era of maybe the next 10 years, where we all crawl out of our holes.
Right. Real quick, Green Bull also came in with the Prime sub over on Twitch. Thank you so much, Green Bull. That's awesome. We really, really appreciate that. Health Warrior says this. Apparently, Health Warrior is a conspiracy theorist.
Oh no, great. What's going to happen?
Thank you, Health Warrior. Says, guys, you can find a lot of these words on the UN website in 1994-96. They wrote Agenda 2020, and some of this language is in it. And they revised it to Agenda 2030, and the words are in there again. What?
Well, there you have it.
Better do some digging. Better do a little research. See that now we're just spreading misinformation.
What a nice what a nice I don't even know what the word is. What a nice diverse group of people we have here.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing how that works out, and I think that's the most fascinating thing about, as we do this show and as we grow just a little bit more every single day, just a little bit more every, 1 extra viewer, 2 extra viewers, 3 extra viewers, as we grow just a little bit more, it's still fascinating to me that there are people who come in just to thumbs down the episodes because they don't want to hear a different opinion.
Yeah.
Right. This is a show where we welcome conversation. I want you to converse. I want to talk to you. I want to hear your opinion, whether we agree or whether we disagree. I want to hear your opinion. That's why we've been talking to Pikmin all night. I love that Pikmin is in here challenging things. I love that. Aussie Man doesn't agree with a damn word we say, and Aussie Man's still here. I love that. I think it's great. Yeah, I love it.
Hey, thanks, John. John coming back with another $5.
Yeah.
Look up the Emu Wars for fun.
Hold on. I'll look it up real fast.
Do it now.
I will. Hold on.
Yeah, look, here's the deal. You're not going to get this with any other podcast on the show. This is an independent show put on by two brothers from their homes. It's organic. We don't have any investors into this show except for you guys. And so we're not like the idea that Craig and I are like, we've got to serve this specific agenda. We don't have that. You're thinking too hard about it. I promise you. Okay.
Right.
Can you look behind me? Do you think there's an agenda behind the guy that puts 80s records behind him every night and has Ninja Turtle toys and Pee-wee action figures behind him? Like, I'm not thinking that hard about anything ever.
ever. That's your problem.
Okay.
Aussie Man and Aussie Man both say, no, I agree sometimes, and I agree with some of what you say. And that's great. And whether you agree with us or not, it doesn't matter. We're just glad you guys are here. We can have these conversations, which is wonderful. Aiden came in with the $3 direct donation. Says, so if you don't lean left or right, does that mean you guys are libertarian? I'm just curious. The funny thing is about libertarian is I just learned that word. I'm 39 years old. I just learned what that word is in probably like the last 3 months. I legitimately don't know.
It's a label. I don't know. Why can't we wait until the next election circle comes around and then you make up your mind based on where you're at? That's normally how these things go, is like, you're supposed to be like, well, like the story of like somebody who's like a lifelong Democrat, and they're like, well, I just don't like where the party's going, so this year I voted for Republican because I just my values didn't align. And the same thing happens on the other side. And maybe, this next election cycle, you come to find, you know what, like both the traditional right and left is getting too crazy for me. I think I align more centralist with the libertarian values or something like that. And but it doesn't mean that that's who you are. You're going to change your views over time as you grow.
real quick, Pickman, we're gonna hit on yours here real fast. John came in with a super chat, says also get a Streamlabs. We actually do have Streamlabs, but we stream through this service called StreamYard, and StreamYard doesn't allow for notifications to pop up on screen, which is why we read each of them manually and allows us to have cool lower thirds like this. So, and I'll tell you this: Zim came in again.
No, he didn't.
With a $50 direct donation. Says, I don't know what I'm going to do without you guys. Keep up the brainwashing. In sarcasm. Zim, I hope you have YouTube over there. And if you don't, we'll be there. You can watch the archives of all the shows. But if you don't, just know that whatever it is you got going on.
Yeah.
Let me talk to you real quick, Zim. Just me and you. Whatever you got going on, buddy. If you're in the shit, I want you to think about what this conversation we're having right now. Zim, we'll be here for you. We'll always be here for you. We're going to brainwash the fuck out of everybody.
Yes, the weekdays with Craig and Brad agenda is taking over the world.
Oh, man. John says, libertarianism, us small gov.
U.S.
small gov. Oh, so from what I understand, libertarianism is like the idea that you want to remove as much government out of living as possible. So
yeah, here's typical libertarian dudes.
Yeah, I don't know. Here we go. Let's see. Here's Pickman says, things I would consider right-leaning, wanting masks to no longer be required before the pandemic has ended, and also spending a disproportionate amount of time talking about and focusing on cancel culture and people getting offended too easily. Those are right-leaning things. The idea that people are petty and stupid and they find little things that they want to like end people's careers over, that's right-leaning. That seems like such common sense. It's crazy.
Yeah, I thought they were just opinions.
I mean, and the idea of right-leaning, and by the way, Pickman, the reason why I talk about that so much is because I've dealt with it personally, right? I've been tried to be canceled for saying I don't, once again, I go back to the tweet over and over again. I don't care how you think. It doesn't matter to me. Please don't tell me how I should think. That's what I said, and I got called a white supremacist because of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, fuck cancel culture. It's hate culture. That's what it is. It's hate culture. Yep. And the idea of wanting masks to no longer be required before the pandemic has ended. Yeah, masks suck. Who can somebody if you're in the chat right now and you genuinely enjoy wearing a mask, or if you're watching in the archive, please, legitimately tell me why you like wearing a mask. I like being able to breathe. I like being able to smell things. I really love those things. I'm not going to apologize. I'm never going to apologize for not wanting to wear a mask. Screw that. I like the idea of being able to see people smile and seeing my kids smile. You know, I love that.
If you like it, I mean, you got to keep wearing it even after all this is over, right? Like, what's your threshold? Who are you waiting on? That's the thing for me is like, who do you need to tell you to not wear it anymore for you to be like, okay, they said it. I'll listen. And plus, like, it's not just one now. They do recommend two, 3 masks is what 95% effective. 75% effective is 2 masks. Or I'm sorry, right. I'm getting my number. Yeah, something like that. 1 mask is 60% effective. 2 masks is 75. 3 masks is 95% effective. So my question with that is like, how much do you care? How much do you care? Do you care to wear a mask? Do you care enough to wear 1, 2, or 3, or 4? 4 is 100%. You care. As
CJ says, we've reached a dangerous point where all alignments are like sports teams' fan bases. So long as one particular side thinks they're winning, it's F everyone else. CJ, that is 100% accurate. And I don't understand how saying that can be seen as right-leaning or left-leaning. That's just common sense, man.
Yeah, that's absolutely where it is. Because when you're committed to a team, no matter how bad your team does, you're still with them. You're committed. Mm-hmm. And, you know, that's where we're at. It's totally sports fanship at this point.
Pickman followed up with says, Craig, you're saying they're not right-leaning ideas, but I would be really curious to hear what the political views are of most of your guys' viewers and how those trends have evolved over the last few weeks, e.g., left-leaning viewers unfollowing and gaining more conservative viewers. I don't think we've gained any more conservative viewers. As a matter of fact, I know we haven't gained any more conservative.
I don't think we've gained I don't think we've gained a viewer.
Right. Very few, right? I'll say this. What we're seeing right now is on our channel, and this is something we totally expected, right? Look, this channel was built around gameplay 5 years ago, right? This is originally a channel that was built around me playing retro games. It was going to be a gaming channel. Then about a year ago, I came back and I started doing podcasts where I interviewed people on YouTube, right? And I kind of got bored of that. So I decided it would be fun to do something with my brother. And that's what we're doing now. And I'm honestly having so much fun with it. So people subscribed for a certain product. They had that taken away. And now they're unsubscribing because that product isn't there. You know? Mm-hmm. And I think that if people who are left-leaning or right-leaning unsubscribe to the channel, once again, that's a them problem, because this show is not about pushing a narrative at all. This show's about having conversation, and I want to hear their perspective if they don't agree. That's why we're talking so much about this tonight, Pikmin, because I want to hear your perspective. You notice how we're talking. That's what this show's about. It's wonderful. I've said this for 15 years. If you have a problem with me, come to me. Let's talk about it. That's it. It's a very simple formula.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like it's become way too difficult to have a simple opinion about something. Like why is the idea of choice right leaning, or having an opinion this way or that way right leaning? Why is I don't know, wanting something to be. Go ahead, Craig. I'm trying to read comments while I'm talking.
So Ozzy Man says, Dr. Seuss was an example of trying to make cancel culture a problem. The company itself wanted to stop publishing the books, much like Disney stopped making Song of the South. Do you think, can you honestly say, Ozzy Man, can you honestly say in your heart that Dr. Seuss Enterprises would have said anything about that had it not gained traction on Twitter, or people had not written about it in a few articles a few years ago? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Can you honestly, in your heart, say that Dr. Seuss Enterprises, if they didn't get feedback, if they didn't get blowback, there's a difference between blowback and feedback. If they didn't get blowback on Twitter for it, can you honestly, in your heart, say that?
Yeah. If
you can, I don't know. I mean, then you're not seeing the world around you, because this happens all the time. You know, it happens all the time. Mm-hmm. And go ahead.
With Disney, I think that they have stopped sort of promoting that movie for quite a while. It's been sort of a hard movie to come by, which is ironic because it has one of their most popular songs of all time in it, Zippity Doo Dah. But with Dr. Seuss, again, my point with that was I had a chart the other day we pulled up that had all their top selling books. Those 6 books they decided to pull were not in their top sellers. And if the problematic content was in Cat in the Hat, Go Dog Go, Green Eggs and Ham in their top sellers, do you really think, again, I'll ask you to search your inner soul in your heart, if Dr. Seuss Enterprises would have made the decision to stop publishing it? Or do you think that they thought, well, we're getting a lot of feedback on this right now, and maybe we can afford the loss? Because if it was Green Eggs and Ham, their number one selling book, I had a chart of books. Every one of them had sold over 750,000 copies on their own, and that chart was only up to the year 2000. It wasn't over the last 21 years, so they've sold way more than that. They would not have made that decision so easily. Yeah, we'll just stop publishing Green Eggs and Ham. It's got a problematic picture in it. They would have taken a different route. They would have at least like made a new illustration for it, or taken the page out, or reworded it.
Right. So like, I think the biggest thing with all this, right, with as far as left leaning, right leaning, whatever leaning, is since when did your political beliefs become an attribute to somebody? Like when people speak of me, I hope they say, hey, Craig's a good guy. He coached his kid's soccer team. He's a good dad. He's always there for his neighbors and friends. I don't want people to say, hey, Craig's a good guy. He's a Democrat. What?
Yeah, right. Like, what does that have to do with
that? Has nothing to do with who I am as a person, right? And if it does, then you're way too deep into it, like way too deep. And that's a you problem. You got to do a little self-reflection, you know. Real quick, there's a few things here. Few things here. I wanted to touch on really fast. Oh my man, Al Borland, good to see you. Aussie man, listen, you guys are going crazy tonight. Aussie man directly donated $15.56 is coming in for the show is always the best part of my day. Even though I do disagree with you sometimes, it's the representation of how different age groups and nationalities think. It's a great way to come in, to always come in and have conversations. Aussie man, love it. Love it. Love it. Aussie man is a 20-year-old Australian dude, right? Aussie man believes that the lockdowns in Australia were totally justified. And like, I couldn't disagree more, but I love that. I love that he's here and coming to be is coming in for the show is always the best part of my day. Even though I do disagree with you sometimes, what a statement right there. What a statement. Outstanding.
That's what I miss about pre-2020, pre-2019, 2016. I miss the days when people could just have a disagreement and still be friends. I mean, like I was in the music industry. I'm still in the music industry, but like you meet so many different people from so many different backgrounds. Primarily, a lot of them politically are Democrats. Their personality aligns with the liberal side of things, and then you meet other people who are Christian artists, conservative based, and I liked getting to be able to be friends with all these people without having to be like, oh, you voted for them?
Right.
Now I can't look at you the same. There was a life like that before all this.
Right. John with the super chat says, been kicked off Twitter and happy about it. John, you should be. Twitter is gross and disgusting. Toe Play Games with the $10 direct donation says, I'm conservative, but I'm not afraid of listening to left-leaning views. I listen to just about everything Kind of Funny puts out, even after they've said anyone who voted for Trump wasn't invited. I appreciate that Craig and Brad are truly welcoming. You know, I've talked about Kind of Funny. Brad, I'm sure you probably don't even know what Kind of Funny is, but Kind of Funny is a pretty big gaming brand. And, you know, when I talked about that tweet earlier about the idea of like, you know, I don't care how you vote or how you think, just don't tell me how I should, right? And a lot of people thought that I was making it, or some not a lot, a few people read into that as me taking a dig at Game Attack, which I was not at all. I was actually talking about Kind of Funny because, you know, they tweeted exactly that. They said, like, they were saying that if you voted for Trump, we don't want you as a part of our community, right? And I just found it fascinating that these brands that are so welcoming and they're open, we're just saying like, get the fuck out. We don't want you. And I think that's really harmful. That's harmful not just to your brand, but it's harmful to just everybody. It's a horrible way to think. You know, if you think this way, I don't want you in my life.
Yeah.
Well, you should have those conversations and learn why they support them. You know, like whether you agree with whatever topic, you should hear the perspective. You should listen. You know, I'm not saying it and it goes back to a common theme on the show. And we're going super late tonight, but you know what? You guys are being amazing.
It's a spectacular episode.
It is. It's, you know, like when's the next time we're going to get to an episode 75? Who knows? It goes back to the, you know, conversation is not built around changing people's minds. That's not what conversation's for. Conversation is the influx, the transfer of ideas. It's not an argument. It's just a conversation, and that's what we try to do here. It's in the theme song of all things.
Life is hard, but you can't give up.
Oh man. Ale Borland. You'll love that name, Brad. Ale Borland, my man.
I was Brad Borland last night on the show.
That's right. And that was Craig the Toolman Taylor. Ale Borland came in with the tier 1 sub and also gifted 5 subs over on Twitch. Outstanding.
Very cool.
1 to Basic Dad Gaming, Bannerwood Arts, Tango Talks, Johnny Poopy Pants, and Quills. All gifted subs from Ale Borland. If you guys if you wouldn't mind, consider paying it forward right there. John came in again. By the way, John's been massive with the super chats tonight.
Yeah, thank you, John.
Look at the influence of China in the university scene.
All right, I will.
Yes.
Hey, he said Johnny Poopy Pants. If I have an agenda on this show, here's my agenda. I want more poop jokes to come back into our society. All right. There's my straight up, honest, transparent agenda. If you need something, if you need to know what the underlying agenda is that we're pushing on this show, it's that the guy Brad, he wants more poop jokes in society. And Johnny Poopy Pants, that's the kind of name that makes me smile.
Seasoning the obese says, remember when mainstream media loved Trump? Loved that Trump was running right up until he started ripping through every politician. After that, he was branded a Nazi, right? Yeah. It's fascinating. The reason I bring up that is there's a conversation happening in our chat right now about when this divisiveness happened, and I personally believe it started around 2008, and it really crept up into 2015, 2016. Like 2008 was when apps and such started to make their way onto your phones. 2006 when the iPhone came out, 2005, 2006, and then apps started becoming a bigger play. Social media, Facebook, Twitter, and as Twitter became less of a place to share ideas, more of a place to plant your flag on certain things and try to go viral. I think that's where the divisiveness really came in. So yeah, it's definitely an interesting conversation. Is when exactly did this start happening? For sure.
I think you're pretty close to there. I think it really heightened, especially with social media taking off. I would say that it happened. I said this the other night about how I never recognized race in people until about 9/11 in 2001, and I was 18 years old. I spent my whole life just never thinking about, just accepting everybody everywhere. And until I started watching the news and they were talking about how society was now profiling these people that look like this, and how when you went to an airport and all these studies were coming out about, who's a terrorist and who's not. That was the first time in my life where I started to realize, I didn't look at it like that's how I need to think, but I recognized it. It became part of my awareness, I guess. And I think that from 9/11 up to social media was an important time in our society where once everybody got a voice, they were ready to use it.
Right.
And that's really once it started going. And yeah.
Captain Agent comes in with this, says, it was way before 2016. I was called a racist in my 5th grade class in 2000 for doing a class project on how I believe Gone with the Wind was a bad film. Ironically, they said I was racist because Hattie McDaniel won Best Supporting Actress. Now Gone with the Wind was canceled too. John says, I've ditched my usual podcast for this show. Nice.
Thanks.
One viewer at a time. One viewer
right.
at a time.
That's right. Tell your friends. All right.
Yes. And there you go. Aussie Man coming in saying, I'm happy to see the curve is dropping in America. Can't wait for the borders to reopen so I can go to America again. We've already said, whenever you come through Dallas, we'll get a burger. It'll be good. Some barbecue. All right. Brad, you got anything else before we wrap up?
Let's see. I covered Kidney Day, Plumber's Day, Wash Your Nose Day, Oatmeal Nut Waffles Day. I said the word droplets. I told everybody they're a conspiracy theorist. I did not apologize for my shirt. I think I'm covered.
Okay, sounds good. I'll tell you this. As Vilcher says, remind everybody about Zucchini Dude. This is literally your last chance. Yep. Last chance. Like, I will be removing this in the next 15 minutes. Okay.
Whoa.
If you want this shirt, you need to go buy it right now. The Mr. Zucchini Dude shirt.
Yeah.
It is the manliest manly Manliest manly vegetable man toy around. It's so catchy. It rolls right off the tongue. You can see Mr. Zucchini Dude destroying a potato guy right there. Now with potato stabbing action, you can pick the shirt up in black. You can get it in prism mint, forest, orange, or yellow, whatever you want. I'll be removing this shirt in just about 15 minutes after the show is over. So get it now. The link is streamlabs.com/Craig Skitz, the number 1/merch. So there you go.
Hey, listen, let me go into detail about this shirt since I designed it, just in case anybody needs any more selling points on it, because you can't quite see all the details here. But he does have Superman strong arms. He does have a barbed wire tattoo. He has a scar on his cheek. He's wearing a red bandana. He's got a kind of a funny mustache there. He's got nunchucks. He's got a sword dripping with blood from stabbing the potato guy. And he does have a little bit of junk in his little package up front. And he does also have a 6-pack. So he is very manly. He has fire behind him. He's standing in a pool of blood. If you want a manly shirt, you can't get more manly than this. Check it out. Get yourself a shirt. And I hope you enjoy it.
Last chance. There's 8 left with about 15 minutes to buy them. So get them right now. Nice. If you like manliness and zucchinis, this is right up your alley. And especially if you like pooping, because it's a great poop shirt. All right. Hey, John also with the $2 super chat says, look up Smith College. Yeah, I've heard about Smith. It's pretty nuts. Pretty nuts what they did over there. It's crazy. Okay, guys, I appreciate you guys. Okay, Tattoo Game says, damn it, just a few hours before I get my paycheck. Okay, Tattoo Games, I'll pull it in the morning. If you really want to get one, I'll pull it in the morning. Okay. If you really want to get one, but I can't. I'm not responsible if they're gone. So we'll see. Okay, guys, I really appreciate everybody being here. Like whether you agree with us, whether you disagree with us, it doesn't matter. All right. What matters is that you're here for the conversation. I love that we had civil conversation in the chat tonight. Whether you agreed with somebody you were talking with or not, that's the most important thing, is that you talked about it. Conversation is something that, once again, it's about a free-flowing transfer of ideas, not about convincing somebody they're right or wrong. And we have whether people like it or not, we're growing something here. And we're growing something a little bit bigger every single day. So spread the word, let people know. YouTube will literally not allow us to promote this show. They will not allow us to promote the show. I've tried to put advertising money behind this show, and it gets shot down every single time. The only way this show is going to grow is if you tell a friend, hit the subscribe button. Every day you come in with a thumbs up, and every day you comment. That's the only way. So let's get it going. You guys have been massive tonight. Really appreciate it. Zim, I'm going to tell you this right now. I'll see you in 365 days. We're going to miss you, buddy. Yeah, we're going to miss you so hard. And we'll get some XCOM done in a year. Everyone say bye to Zim. Wish him luck in his endeavor over to the other side of the world. Zim, take care of yourself, buddy. And Godspeed, as they say. Remember, people are going to try to bring you down, guys. Don't let them. You got to go get it, Brad.
Yeah.
Have a good weekend.
You too.